Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to another pickup video, Sinclair Spectrum inspired pickup video. About 80% of all my pickups at the moment seem to be for the Sinclair Spectrum, and now 20% are probably for the Commodore Amiga. But yeah, I've got loads of specky stuff, loads of different subsets I'm burying my head into at the moment, because that's kind of what I do, silly things like that. Researching subsets like alternative, high-tech, various other ones, Zeppelin and stuff like that. More later releases than the early stuff, because the early stuff you can quite easily get lost into a bit of a quagmire, because there's so much in the early days. So many one-off titles, so many games that were produced at home and photocopied inlays and all that sort of stuff. It gets a bit messy, but a lot of people I know love collecting that early homebrew scene stuff. But yeah, I'll probably stick with the later stuff. I'm kind of more experienced around that kind of mid-80s on, rather than mid-80s backwards. I didn't have a Spectrum back then either, so for me a lot of the nostalgia didn't exist, but I can 100% see why people would be interested in collecting that rare, obscure stuff. But yeah, I bought a book. I didn't buy a book, I don't really buy books like that. Kickstarter book by one of the two Let's Talk Retro chaps. Colin Paul. Yeah, Colin. Good man is Colin. I do like Colin. That is the Commodore Collector's Guide to Mastertronic. You can pick this book up at Fusion Books. I did it the other way. So I got myself a little coaster with Clumsy Colin on it. Something else. I think it might be a mouse mat. And I'm waiting for my Mastertronic t-shirt. But the reason I bought this book, because Mastertronic, like with many people of my age, would have evoked some very nice special memories of going to the newsagents and picking up games, especially that one, look, for $1.99. My first game, in fact, was Agent X, probably about a week or two after getting my Spectrum. But yeah, I looked into kind of collecting some Mastertronic games. I knew that there was a large library, but I didn't expect it to be around 300 bloody games. So to put it into context, it's about 2.5 times the size of the Hit Squad. With a lot of strange anomalies, especially on the later, not necessarily the later ones. Some of the labels that Mastertronic brought out were quite obscure, weren't they? Like Americana. There's a couple of very hard Americana games to get. But as per usual, it seems to be the case, there's lots of very obscure compilations. So I picked up loads of Mastertronic games. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick away at it as and when, really. But yeah, like I said, I think the most difficult aspect of it is going to be those pesky compilations. I think the rest of it isn't too bad. There's a really hard to get Tronics title and a really hard to get Americana title. But besides that, it's compilations all the way. I think that's the most tricky bits to get. But yeah, it's a really cool book. I would certainly recommend picking it up if you have fond memories of Mastertronic. It's very well detailed. I do believe Colin has got a full Mastertronic set on the C64, which is marginally smaller. Doesn't make it easier, but it's marginally smaller than the Spectrum set. And I think there's less compilations on the C64 as well, because you have got +3 releases on the Spectrum, which again makes it bloody hard. A bit like the alternative labels, like 5 or 6 +3 disc games. Pain in the arse. But anyway, back to my own pickups. I've also got a few magazines to show you, some late Your Sinclair magazines that came up quite recently that I picked up, because I've got the very last issue, but I don't seem to have any other issues of Your Sinclair. But yeah, cool. Let's start off with the first game then that I've picked up for the Sinclair Spectrum. Well, in this particular video. The game is called Johnny Quest by High-Tech Software. Now, High-Tech Software, like I said before, is a relatively easier subset to go for. It's about 35-ish games on the system. Johnny Quest is one of those games. It's an arcade adventure. You roam caverns. You pick up keys. You open doors. You punch androids. Which remind me of a program that I've completely forgotten about. Boy from Space? Kid from Space? Boy from Space. A very strange program that I used to watch in primary school. Which was rather spooky, and even now when you watch it, it's quite sinister. And I'm talking about 40 odd years ago here. It scarred me for life. But yeah, it's a very strange game. not a strange game. It's boring. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's not strange at all. The androids are a bit strange. They creep me out a bit. Next up, talking about strange and talking about trippy. Who remembers the Magic Roundabout? I don't remember the game quite clearly, but I do remember the program. I used to sit and watch when I was small. That and Trumpton. Fucking awesome programs they were, weren't they? Yeah, but the game itself, you are literally moving sugar cubes around and building a house made of sugar cubes. How random is that? For a game from 1984, it looked a little bit dated. I've got to say, moved a little bit sluggish, but the sprites were rather large. Quite impressive, really. But yeah, it's nice to have in the collection because it's a very nostalgic program. Next up, we've got a decent game. The first decent game of the bunch. There's quite a lot of games in this bunch that aren't particularly decent, just a little bit tricky to get hold of. So we've got Spellbound. But this isn't just any old Spellbound. It is the 128K specific Spellbound. Now, back in the day when I played this game, it had music in it. Every single version of the game I've got since doesn't. So I thought I was going frigging bananas. But there are tunes on the 128K versions. But yeah, really pleased to have it. It's a better version of Johnny Quest. Similar sort of thing. You're going around picking up objects to get other objects to work. But I do remember completing this back in the day. But I can't remember if it's this one I completed or Nighttime. Now I believe Nighttime, Spellbound and Stormbringer all have 128K specific versions. So the only one I'm missing now is Stormbringer. I do have it in 48K mode, in 48K version I mean, but not the 128K version. So yeah, pleased to have that. A very nice addition. That was about 15 quid, that was. Because Magic Roundabout I think was in a bundle, and Johnny Quest might have been again in a bundle. Wasn't overly expensive. Now we've got a couple of games again in a small jewel case from a company called Automata. Help me please, because I don't know how you pronounce it. Now they were, or probably still are, a desirable publisher to collect for in the Spectrum scene. But some of the really old games are like photocopied inlays, black and white, blue and white, whatever colours they are. One game in particular went for £1,000 in retrogames.co.uk shop. It's got other bits and bobs listed there now, but it's again, I prefer these later games, to be honest, only because they're cheaper, but these are the ones I, over the last 20 or so years, have seen quite often to pick up. So I thought I'd pick these up. If I get very lucky, I might pick up some of the very extremely difficult ones, but I'm not overly fussed with this one. It's a very early mascot, I suppose, not much older than Horace, or younger than Horace even, called the Pie Man. Now, first game I got is called Olympi Mania. There's always a reference to the Pie Man. Now there is an event in there called the Pie Jump, and there's about 5 events as it shows at the front. But they've all got the word, the word pie, P-I, in amongst it. So this game reminded me a little bit of something like Keystone Capers, where you run along the platform, jumping over things, ducking under things, and every event seemed quite similar from what I saw. Quite fast and quite frantic. I struggled with it, but it's quite a quirky game. There's quite a few games by Automata. I do believe it is Mel Croucher who started this company. What was his game? What famous game did he do? Deus Ex Machina, Machina. Again, get confused with these words. I haven't got that. Another one I'd love to have, starring like the likes of John Pertwee and stuff like that, or people like that. Yeah, the other one I got is My Name is Uncle Groucho. You win a fat cigar. No joke, that's what it's called. This one, I had no idea what to do. Again, seemed like a quiz game. I don't know what. Even the instructions didn't make any poxy sense whatsoever. Look how strange that character is, though. The old pink dude, look. Bit weird, isn't he? Even the geezer's a bit weird, but bloody hell. I mean, all the different people there from Hollywood. Starring Groucho the Pie Man and a galaxy of Hollywood stars, which Yeah, cover's pretty cool to be honest, but the game itself, I didn't have a bloody clue. I think I've got about 6 or 7 of those games now, which is cool. But like I said, a full set ain't gonna happen. It just ain't. I think some of the games are so obscure and they're so desirable from people that collect those sorts of games from that particular publisher. Nah, ain't gonna happen unless I strike it lucky. But yeah, very tough to find titles. Right, let's go over to the double jeweled cases. First up is a pretty mundane racer, but I didn't realise this game I've seen sell for £10–15 on the Spectrum. This came up in an online store. Mutant Caterpillar, fantastic shop, gotta say. Package their stuff brilliantly. Send me sweets as well. Well, it's not necessarily send me in particular sweets, but send me some love hearts. Gotta say I was most impressed. Haribos though, prefer Haribos. I've done that before. This was like £3 in their shop or something. There's Crazy Cars, the original, by Titus. Oh, hello. A very straightforward driving game. That's all I can say really. There's not really a lot to say. It runs very fast, very smooth. I've completed this before. I'm pretty sure I did in my first go. But yeah, it is quite lackluster, to be fair. No sound effects. You go straight from the menu straight into the game. There's no effort at all in the front end. You just go straight into a pretty lackluster affair. But the fact I picked it up for what seems to be a good rate, because Crazy Cars 2 is very common, but that one isn't for some reason, so it's nice to have it. Next up, we got a game that was highlighted to me by Dave Retro Games Play Badly after my last video, Spectrum video. The last Capcom game I need for the subset of the US Gold subset is Bionic Commando. A good game on the Specky, gotta say. Yeah, nice to pick this up. I think this was a tenner. 2 versions on 2 different cassettes. Unusual. Maybe this is a multi-load game, but 128K version. But yeah, I always remember this advert, because I think the only one I ever bought that was a Capcom branded game on the Spectrum was Street Fighter. Bloody hell, there's loads of stuff in there. Used to get like the old airline ticket thing, British Airways, and a passport, your passport to Capcom. First prize, a 1-week expenses paid trip for 2 people to Silicon Valley, including a visit to Capcom. Second prize, a portable CD player. Third prize, 25 US Gold sweatshirts. Each completed passport will be entered into a free raffle. And you've got your little stamp you stuck on your little passport, I believe. Unfortunately, there's no passport in it. But yeah, it's just little quirky stuff like that you kind of remember. Remember a game called Eureka being advertised in a very early edition of Sinclair User. £10,000 prize money, which was like amazing for its day. Sort of things that stick in your mind. But yeah, Capcom, Bionic Commandos, a platformer, use a grappling hook to get around. Pretty cool, gotta say. Great music, great graphics for the Sinclair Spectrum, and probably plays better than a Commodore Amiga. But yeah, thank you very much, Dave, for highlighting that. It wasn't the only one I believe you highlighted for me. Well, it might have been. But the other game I think we did discuss. Right, next up is the game I did discuss with Dave, and that's Rolling Thunder. This came up, I think, maybe up £7 or £8 I think I paid for this. Been after this for ages. Always a game that's appealed to me over the years. I love the sequel on the Mega Drive. Played that to completion. But this, unfortunately, is quite sluggish. It plays okay. I mean, you jump up onto platforms, go into doors, pick up weapons, and do other fancy stuff like that. But generally, yeah, big old inlays, isn't they? Bloody hell. But yeah, this is one of the last US Gold branded, not US Gold, yeah, US Gold branded. That's what I mean. All these subsets have got so many different subsets within them. US Gold has got maybe 10. Probably not that many, but it's got loads inside, like Datasoft and Capcom, the Sega stuff, the LucasArts stuff. There's loads of it. But yeah, good game. Like I said, I just found it a bit sluggish, to be fair. A little bit disappointing. But again, nice to have Rolling Thunder in the collection. A game I remember mostly from its reviews. Then we have a gift. A gift from Rob. I don't think of his channel's name. Rob. Retro or Bust, Rob. That's it. Sorry mate, my memory today is appalling. In fact, my memory every day is appalling. So he sent me a copy of this game after he highlighted it in one of his videos. He picked up a huge bundle of Spectrum and Commodore games, did about 2 or 3 videos on said bundle. This game I've been after for ages, to be honest. Again, it's one of those games that is difficult to find, but not a desirable title. I did pick up the original boxed version. Apparently it was broken. So the game is Italy 1990 Winners Edition. Now I'm not sure if every version of the game suffered with this. The original game, apparently, when you won the World Cup, the cup was presented to the team you just beat. So how gutting would that have been, having spent half an hour of your life trying to win the World Cup? So he sent me the game, which is great. I had to buy the C64 version to get myself the wall chart, which was missing. The C64 version seems to be relatively common. I'm also looking for this on the Amiga as well. You don't really see it very often. But probably the most memorable World Cup for me. I was 16 that year, just left school, not doing much else really, but it was a nice summer. I got fond memories of the World Cup. I think '86 was the first World Cup I really got into, but this was probably the most memorable one. But yeah, that's brilliant. So thank you very much, Rob, for that. I really do appreciate that. It's another game that is now off my US Gold list. I think I'm down to about 8, I think, including Indiana Jones, which is probably the Grail title. It's another really difficult one to find by Datasoft. Saracen, it's called. Hard to find. There's a few other bits and bobs I've seen kicking around, probably a little bit overpriced, but I might just buy them. Not massively overpriced, just more than they probably would go at auction. So yeah, no, thank you very much, Rob. Really appreciate that. And then we're down to Gremlin. It's a Gremlin collection. It's very similar to US Gold. There's 1 or 2 brutally hard games to get. One is Nigel Mansell, assuming it came out on the Spectrum. The other one is called Alien. It's not Alien Highway, Alien Evolution. That's another really hard to find game. The rest of them, not easy either. I don't think Gremlin were a particularly popular company during parts of its existence. There's certain parts it didn't do particularly well. But the games I got here, again, they're not easy to find. They do come up, but not that easy to find. First one is Blood Brothers. Again, I can't remember how I picked this up. I think this might have been eBay. Buy it now. I think sometimes, like I said before, some of the things that save these games are Ben Dalglish's title tunes. This is complete with instructions. Again, came out in '88. Weren't sure what to do with it, I've got to be honest. You started off with some platforms, fell down a hole, and all of a sudden you're kind of playing a Zaxxon style shooty thing. Where you're kind of flying your craft through some 3D environments. And then you die there, you end up back on the platformy thing with the other brother doing other things in the platforming area. So yeah, I will try and give it more of a bash than that, but it seemed quite vague to me, I've got to say. But yeah. Next up we have a game I recently picked up again from Mutant Caterpillar. I was watching this on eBay and it came up in the shop. So I thought I'd just buy it from the shop, as I think I bought about 15-20 games from them. This is Deflector. Again, a game I'd like to get my head around. Every time I put it on, I can't get very far. I don't really know what I'm doing. The laser beam, I can't work out what it's supposed to do. I managed to get it around the screen and zap a few things, but again, inlay, very small inlay for a change. Nice receipt. Boots the Chemist, Belfast, Donegal Place. Anybody recognise that? Budget software, $2.99. Always wondered what those blue stickers were on the case. Special purchase there. There's Boots the Chemist. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, the gameplay wise, it's supposed to be a highly regarded game. Or I should say, it is a highly regarded game. It's just one I haven't really spent a lot of time on. And I did pick up its sequel not long ago on the Amiga. Another tough game to find. But yeah, nice to have Deflector. And again, the shop service was absolutely fantastic, I've got to say. Next up, we have Arturo. This game reminded me of another game that I played, but again, can't remember what it was called. Kind of going around large play areas. It's a platformer again, sort of a shooty platformer. Weren't really entirely sure what to do. Again, it's picking up objects, opening doors, going in and out of different doors. Got really good music though, but again, another one I need to read the instructions. One of the sort of finer Gremlin artworks on the front there. Really cool actually, if you like that sort of thing. But yeah, another one that's tough to track down. Comes with a instruction pamphlet. Again, I quite liked it, I've got to say, for my first gameplay of it. It was quite hard. Graphics are large though, nice sprites, nice large sprites. And because the graphics are not all monochrome, but typical Spectrum fashion, you do get a bit of the old colour clash. So sometimes you can't see what the hell's going on. But yeah, I like that. I can't remember what I paid for that either. This was probably around a tenner, I want to say. None of these games were cheap. But I missed out on that in an auction. Went for more than what I paid for it, I think. So I was quite lucky there. And the final game, Monty Mole series, called Impossible. This is the last instalment on the ZX Spectrum of a Monty Mole game. It looks good actually. Graphically it looks quite nice. Impossible is called upon to save aliens, the alien's planet, from disaster as he fights his way through 200 screens of classical platform gameplay. 200 bloody screens. I can get to that screen 3 or 4. But yeah, nice to have it. Like I said, a platformer of the Impossible variety. 5 levels. 1990. Quite a late Gremlin release. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, US Gold and Gremlin are kind of down to about 7 games on each set now. Not easy ones to find either. Just trying to see what else I've got left to pick up, to be fair. If I can find it. Yeah, so I mean there's games like I said, like Saracen's a very hard to get game on the US Gold label. Zorro, not really, can pick that up quite easily. Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, a git to find. Heavy Metal, again, that's quite a big box to be fair. One of the few big box games on the Spectrum actually. Shackled, Masters of the Universe, the arcade. I've got the Gremlin Masters of the Universe game, which is based on the movie, and I've got the other Masters of the Universe game on US Gold, which is the adventure game. And then Gremlin, you got Nigel Mansell, Bounder, again, Bounder's not overly difficult to find. Dark Fusion, I do have that on the Amiga, I believe. Toyota Celica GT Rally, again, surprisingly difficult game to find. Alien Evolution, I've already said. Blood Valley's in quite a big plastic case. Abu Simbel Profanation. Again, that does come up quite a bit. And West Bank in a small Boots cassette. That's about it for Gremlin. So yeah, like I said, my Spectrum list is quite small, which is good, but I'm buying more and more stuff that's not on my list, which is not unheard of for me, to be fair. Alright, last but not least, you forgot this game. A classic that I don't have. It's got one of those dodgy little things you put on the screen to work out a code. And that game is Elite. Never played it back in the day. I played Frontier Elite 2, which I played for many hours and very much enjoyed. But this one, I've got to say, it's always looked dated. I mean, it came out, what, 85? Nice book there. Quite a lot of bump in this book. In this box. But yeah, I never really got the hang of it. I know some people, well, most people that played it back in the day speak very highly of this game. Remember these? Pretty cool, aren't they? Key covering things. Big poster. There we go. Got to remember that. Lens lock. I had no idea what to do with that. Could never work out what the hell I was doing. This side out. Top. Left, right. It tells you how to use it. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know if you remember those. They're a pain in the bloody arse. One of the worst protection methods out there, wasn't it? But yeah, nice to have it simply because it is a must-have in anyone's collection, really. Maybe one day I'll give it a go, who knows? But yeah, it's not really my cup of tea. But having said that, I really enjoyed Frontier on the Amiga. Cool. But yeah, so got some magazines. So I do like collecting magazines. My missus wonders why I collect them. I've got like literally, I don't know if you can see them here, like this is all magazines, pretty much up to probably I don't know, almost a metre off the floor, just magazines. I've got loads more dotted around all over the bloody house. You can see why she gets pissed off with them. But I picked up some Your Sinclairs. Now I picked up the last issue 2 or 3 years ago. So I saw these come up on eBay. This is August 1993. This is the second to last on the penultimate issue. Now I used to buy Sinclair User. As an adult looking back, I think Crash Magazine's probably the one to have. I used to love those Silica adverts. I used to peruse those for ages, didn't you? Looking at the next machine you're going to get. For me it was the ST in '89. Looking at these Silica adverts. By 93 I had an Amiga by then. Christ, I think I even had the 1200. But yeah, contents in here, sorry sight, isn't it? Free reviews. Free reviews. Helter Skelter. Audiogenic $3.99. Now I didn't realise that was such a late game. A game that still eludes me. But actually they both elude me. On the Hit Squad label. And they're both Hit Squad games. With their really dodgy percentage score there. Darkman what? 22%. Skull and Crossbones 53. I'd probably rate them the other way round, to be fair. Skull and Crossbones is grim. That's it. That's all you got in these magazines. What do they cost? £2.50. Fucking hell. £2.50 for like 4 pages. Blimey. But yeah, got a few. So got probably the vast majority of 1992. And I would say maybe sort of half a dozen in 93. The covers aren't much to be desired, are they, compared to say Crash. Even Sinclair User seemed to make more of an effort. But yeah, did any of you guys read Your Sinclair? I guess at the time as well with these magazines, a lot of people that would have been made their name, I suppose, in their profession would have left and gone on to bigger and better things. So I guess a lot of the guys that took over from these magazines were kind of like apprentices and stuff. But yeah, bloody hell. Some of the covers are pretty cool. On there for you, Dave. But yeah, I wasn't a Your Sinclair person, but I have now got quite a few magazines from the later years, really, which is quite nice. So I think it's cost me about 60 quid, I think, for a whole bunch. Believe it or not, there's about 20 magazines in that little pile. It's just so thin. I mean, the last one, well, that one there's what? January 92, that's a bit thicker. Lemmings. Yeah, okay. So Lemmings must have come out on the Spectrum quite late then. Still cool, look, flicking through these magazines. Paperboy 2, Super Space Invaders, Lemmings, yeah, bloody hell. 91%. Neighbours. That's just finished as well, isn't it? Look at that. Neighbours. Oh, blimey. But yeah, that's enough. I'll shut up now. But yeah, I do like collecting magazines. I'd like to do some more videos just looking at magazines, to be fair. But yeah, my weapon of choice was Sinclair User. Reading them now, they're not very good. A Crash magazine seems to be where it was at. Never mind. Some you win, some you lose. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, thank you very much for subscribing. I'll see you again next time. Yeah, something like that. Take care. Bye for now.